All right, everybody, good morning. This is Lori Delk-Radecki with the Nashville Networking Business Luncheon. So we do these live every single Tuesday from 11:30 to 12:30 Central Time. And then we also do them in person. We are back in person now 5 times a month. So you can see our schedule at NashvilleNetworkingBusinessLuncheon.com. We also have a group on Facebook as well as LinkedIn if you want to join those groups. Our speaker today is Mr. John Cleaver. Welcome to the call.
Thanks. You ready for me to go ahead and get started?
Yes.
I thought there'd be a drum roll or a trumpet or something. All right, sorry about that. My name is John Cleaver, and I'm with the Turning Point Group here in Nashville, Tennessee. Can everybody hear me? Okay, perfect. So I always want to double check that before you get started in a presentation. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we will get started. So what I'm going to be talking about today is 5 ways to increase client opportunity. This is something that if you manage to go through this COVID situation, that's obviously probably front and foremost on your mind, any business owner or salesperson, or if you've got any kind of widgets that you're trying to bring to market, you always want to know how can I get in front of more people? That's the question. And now that we've been on lockdown due to the COVID situation, or if you are able to get out, you're not really sure who you're talking to because you can only see from the eyes up. And you can't read the facial expressions. That's going to be a little bit harder, a little bit more of a challenge, but not impossible to overcome. So again, what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is really how to get in front of more people and increase that opportunity, even in spite of what's going on today. So if I can get there we go. So a lot of different challenges for any sales professional or business owner. You know, number one is not just talking to people. I mean, you can literally walk through any mall or restaurant or any street side or anything like that and run into people. Even with COVID going on, there's a lot of people still out and about. But the question is, how do I find those qualified individuals and turn those qualified individuals into a prospect? And each business, each market has its own market, or each product has its own market rather. Really looking at, you know, I do financial planning and retirement. I'm not going to talk to a group of 19-year-olds necessarily about retirement planning. Now, I may teach them some money tips and tricks that help them on their life, but that's not really what I would call a qualified person to talk to. So you've got to define that. Number 2 is, how do I get a response from a prospect, a positive response, not necessarily a negative response. You know, there's the old adage that any press is good press, whether it's good or bad. That's not necessarily the case when you're trying to talk about your product or things like that. How do I elicit that positive response from the prospect? And number 3, how can I stand apart from my competitors? Okay, and that's huge. That's huge. Why am I, or my company, why are we a better choice than the person that's doing something similar right next to me? How do I differentiate myself? That's key. You've got to be able to do that. And you've got to be able to do all 3 of these in a fairly quick period. One of the things that we train within our company is, as we're talking to people, to look for little signals, you know, looking for a wedding ring, right? Whether you're looking for that special someone or a qualified client in the financial services world, that wedding ring says, hey, they're thinking about the future, they committed, kind of that thing. Homeowners, whatever, especially if you're, you know, an alarm salesperson, you're not going to talk to people that are necessarily not homeowners, although there may be an opportunity, it's going to be a smaller one. So how do I do that, and how do I create that response? And usually you want to tie into some kind of an emotion. You know, there's an old adage out there, and I'm a firm believer in it, that facts tell, stories sell. Okay, facts tell, stories sell. So just because you know the ins and outs of any kind of product or widget or whatever the case may be, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to strike a chord with the person that you feel should have that product. Okay, you've really got to come into that emotional type of selling, emotional type of qualification to get some kind of it's going to strike a chord with them. You know, when I talk to people about, you know, what we do from financial services, you look at, we show people part of the process. We show them how to get out of debt. We show them how to do the Dave Ramsey snowball, you know, where you can get out of debt. Okay. Rather than say, Shamika, what would it be like if you had no bills coming in every month other than your utilities? What would that feel like? Probably, you see the difference there, right? It's a huge, response you're getting. Wow, that would be so great. Let them talk a little bit. And again, why are you different than, again, I do financial planning. There's a lot of us out there. Why are we different? I think we're the best thing since sliced bread, and there's a whole reason that I explain that. You need to be able to do that too with your clients. So those are the three major challenges as you're focusing on getting your message out, right? As in reaching people with your mission. So now that I understand that, and I've kind of defined, okay, what I need to do, how do I increase my opportunity? How do I get in front of more of these people? So the real question is, how do I get more leads? Let's just be honest, right? That's what we're all doing here. We can dance around it, and don't get me wrong, you don't ever want to go at somebody and start pounding at them, trying to sell them something. Nobody responds to that, especially in today's day and age. But you want to be able to ask for the business, and don't be shy about doing it. So number one is going back to what I was talking about with your prospects and making sure you're talking to the right individuals. Do you even know for your business who the right individuals are? Who do you have most success with? And so what I would recommend doing is going back and looking over the last 6 months, or that awesome month you had, or if you had a couple months in a row that were just slamming, you're like, oh man, this is great. You've got to do a post-mortem on that, or a debrief on that, and ask yourself, why? What was different about that month? What kind of clients were I talking to? My industry, we use an acronym to define, who we're looking to talk to, and it works. And we do a scoring system. It's an 8-point scoring system, and it's going through, and you kind of classify, okay, we want to spend 80% of our time with people that score 6, 7, or 8. That's my business. It may be, and probably is, a little bit different from Mark, Lori, Shamika, or whoever else that's out there, right? For the simple fact that we all have it. But unless you know who you're talking to, you're just talking to everybody, and you're spending a lot of time, effort, and energy on wasted space. Not that they're not valuable people, it's just they're not looking for what you have, okay? So you're spending a lot of time on that. Number two is getting involved in networking groups, and that's been a challenge as of late, but things are beginning to thaw. A lot of groups have shifted to online, like our group as well. If you're not plugged in, you need to be plugged in, because guess what? We're all working out of our homes right now. Shamika, nobody's going to walk up to your front door at your house and go, hey, I know you got something I need in there, let me in, right? You've got to get out there and figure out how to do it. So getting involved and getting out there to find those clients, but you got to recognize it's not about that person, right? I know Mark may need what I have, but he's not necessarily here to say, hey, I came to meet John, right? I'm here to look what he, same thing with you, Shamika, or Lori, or anybody else. What it's all about are building the relationship, okay? Networking, if it's done properly, is like dating, right? It's like dating, meaning I want to get to know you a little bit. You want to get to know me a little bit before we start talking to each other about how we can help one another. And then, okay, hey, I like your mindset. I like where your heart's at. I like where your head's at. I like how you're focusing on helping the client, right? If I hear people talking about, oh, I made this much off that person, this much off that person, I'm out. That's not the person I want to put my clients with, right? Because what are they focused on? They're focusing on the commission. I want people that are focusing on the mission before commission, right? And so it's all about building those relationships. And then once you get to that point, you start working together. Shamika, let's get together for coffee. I want to find out more about you and about what you're doing. And I want to share what I'm doing and figure out if there's a way for us to work together successfully. That's the whole mission of working together in a networking type of format. That's really what networking is all about. But I see so many groups, especially when we're meeting in person, I call them networking gypsies, right? They literally go from group to group. They'll maybe show up once or twice, grab a bunch of cards, and then go on to the next group. They have absolutely zero interest in developing relationships, working or otherwise with the people in that group. They could care less if that group's around 6 months from now or not. They want cards or contacts today, and they try to sell people, and that's not the way to do it, okay? And those people, me personally, I'm in this business for the long haul. I'm trying to build a reputation, rapport with other networkers, but I realize that, Lori, Mark, Shamika, you're talking to people I want to talk to. But before I ask you for an introduction, I've got to show you that I'm trustworthy. I've got to show you that I know my stuff, because I'm representing you a little bit when you make those introductions, right? And so that's really what networking is all about, that the end game is to not necessarily sell them, but to talk to people in their market, right? To get into other people's markets and create advocates rather than just clients. Using social media. Now you guys see, these are not highlights, right? I earned these. These are white hairs here. Don't smile that hard, Shamika. Wasn't that funny? Come on. But you can teach an old dog new tricks, meaning social media. You know, I'm trying to figure out all different kinds of stuff. And like most people, you know, I paid coaches to help me on this. You know, I've paid actual professional marketing people. I found that my 17-year-old daughter knows just as much, if not more, than they do about all the different social media out there. But I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You know, and those are the ones that I can't really figure out how to tie Pinterest into it. I just haven't got my gears wrapped around that, but I'm sure there's a way. I'm here to tell you, don't try Tinder for your business. It doesn't market that way. I found that out. That's just a joke. I didn't try that. But using social media, so a lot of people say that blogs are no longer. I would disagree. I think on the right type of activity, blogs are important. Why? Because it feeds out to an informational type of person. And you see a lot of people now, and I've seen this transition over the last 10 years. Before it would be, you know, I would throw out a little bit of information, but if you wanted any more information, you've got to come and buy that from me. Okay, that's the old way of doing things. The new way of doing things, and you see it left and right, is giving away that content, you know, showing people how to do it. And what happens in that process, and it's effective because I've done it myself, you become the go-to person for your industry or your segment or whatever you're doing, right? And you keep talking about that, you keep throwing things out. What happens is you're the expert, okay, in your field, or at least you should be, right? And if you keep giving enough content out there to pique interest, I want to do this, you know, option trading, I see that a lot. Real estate investing, you see that a lot. You know, what happens is they want to take that step, but they want somebody to hold their hand and show them the ropes, so you become that go-to person, and it creates additional business for you. And then also, or lastly, is develop an affiliate program. I got one more after that. What's an affiliate program? Well, there's a lot of different things out there. Walmart has an affiliate program, okay? They're not uncommon. We have an affiliate program. And basically, that's an exchange for introductions, whatever the case may be. You may get gift cards. You may get a point system. Our company does a revenue share. So if we've got people that, tax repairs, for example, that's kind of been my mantra. That's this tax date coming up, July 15th. So it's right around the corner. But what we do is if a company that has a tax repair or whatever business introduces us to somebody, one of their clients that becomes a client with us, we have an opportunity to do a revenue share with them. So it creates a second stream of income. So things like that, getting creative with your business. Now, if you're employed and in sales with somebody, that's a little bit more of a challenge if you don't already have one set up. But if it's your business, try to create something like that, something that's of value, that's tangible, that's a benefit to somebody else, and give them an incentive to give you referrals. And it also kind of buys loyalty too. And then lastly, find a company to work with to create that cross-sell opportunity. Create multiple streams of income. You know, the average millionaire out there has 7 streams of income. That's how they become millionaires, 7 streams of income. We all hear about it. We talk about it. You know, the Millionaire Mindset, talked a little bit about it. Robert Kiyosaki, Cash Flow Quadrant. If you haven't read that book, a great book. But looking for the opportunity to work together. I'm here to tell you there's enough out there for everybody, depending on what your business is, but there's enough out there for everybody. We don't have to necessarily compete, viciously. It's that whole red water, blue water. I don't know if you've Red Ocean, Blue Ocean, if you've read that book. It talks about how to work together with not only, people that are in different industries, but even your competitors, and focus on your different niches and whatnot in your business. But again, you should work to stay core, to stay true to your business, but develop multiple streams of income. A prime example of this, our company, like I said, does financial planning. We also partner with a company that does Medicare, all right, Medicare insurance. It ties exactly what we do. It also requires the exact same licenses for what we use. Well, great. That's another segment of the community that we weren't serving before. Now we are, and it gives us an opportunity to sell different things if they need it for final expense, things like that. So find a way to create multiple streams of opportunity for your business, but make sure, and here's the catch, make sure it's core to your main thing. Keep your main thing your main thing. I see some people that try to wear 20 different hats and they're all over the place, And what happens, you become a jack of all trades, master of none. So when you are looking to create those multiple streams, make sure they're synergistic, if you will, in line with what you're already doing, and just kind of add to it. Mark, from what I understand, you're doing real estate, right? A great time with that would be, rehab company, or at least be a general contractor for that, because you've got people who are buying houses that need fixing up, right? Boom. Now we've got a company that can also help you fix up the property, give them a discount or whatever the case. That way you're capturing multiple sources of income. That's why Disneyland versus Disney World. When Walt Disney built Disneyland, that was his first thing. What happened, he bought a property, and then all these hotels started popping up around him. And he was feeding massive amounts of business to those other hotels, but he was receiving none of that. But it was all because of his effort in building Disneyland. So then he built Disney World, and it became this huge internal world where all of the hotels are all part of Disney. Everything is all part of Disney. What did he do? He realized that, hey, I need to capture some of that multiple streams of income that are being generated anyway from my efforts. So you can accomplish that through those side streams, or an affiliate program would be another opportunity for you to get involved in. So that's really all I had to say. It was a little bit, and hopefully you got some value out of it. I'd love to talk more about it. There's my contact information right there. I'm John Cleaver, and I'm with the Turning Point Group here in Nashville. And thank you, Lori, for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So if you are just joining us or have not been with us before, we are meeting every week on every Tuesday from 11:30 to 12:30, and we do our speaker portion live. The rest is private. So if you want to join us, please sign up with us and get with us. We are on Meetup, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those places. We also have an email list. If you want to message me, I will add you onto that. So Nashville Networking Business Luncheon.com. You can see the schedule right there. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much, everyone.